Hi guys, welcome back to August Love Stories review of Put a Ring on It. This is season 1, episode 5, and it is called Family Matters. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right, so we'll get into the first couple. Who you want to do first? I put Shay and Michael, but they got a lot of issues. We can go and start with them. Go and get them and their issues out the way.
All right.
So Michael is going on a second date with Whitney. That was our cliffhanger from
The
last week's episode. Shay is actually also going to go out on a second date with Peyton. And I wrote that felt very spiteful.
Yeah,
like, you going on a date, I'm going on a date.
They should have asked her first.
They should have. And if they had,
I don't believe she would have went out on
she would have said that it wasn't a spark there or something like that. And I'll get into why it felt spiteful, because it definitely did. So they sat down after that initial meeting with all the couples, and they talked about Zion moving in. And there didn't seem to be any resolve in her mind about Zion moving in, and I think that he needs to take that for what it is.
Man, he needs to read the signs.
They're all there.
They're there.
So he went on his second date with Whitney, and we found out that Whitney's in school to become a dental hygienist. Whitney has beautiful teeth. Her teeth are
nice.
They are beautiful.
They are nice.
And we did also find out
she has dimples.
She does have dimples, and she has 2 dimples.
Yeah.
I'm a little jealous.
Yeah.
Because I only have the single one.
Yeah.
We found out that her favorite holiday is Halloween, and that was coming up. Mm-hmm. So this was also the spot where we could age the show as a point of reference. And she said that she wanted to be Catwoman.
Yeah.
So that was interesting, to say the least.
And Mike was enjoying all of
Mike
this.
Mike was trying to figure out how he could get a little cat from Catwoman. That's what it seemed to me. So he did tell her that he was breaking a rule by getting her phone number and texting her, because that was one of the ground rules that he and Shay set up. And during that conversation, even though they said they would not be texting each other anymore, they were talking about finding other ways to communicate with each other.
I thought that was more so of a joke.
I do. I don't take anything as a joke when I'm in a relationship with you.
I feel you. I felt like that was more so.
You don't want to make eye contact about that.
Feel like that was more so of a joke than anything else. But like I appreciate him saying, hey, we can't text each other, because that's a part of the rules. I appreciate that, just because he is trying to, he's like I said last week, he was going to do the experiment, but he's trying to follow by the rules.
Open to the process.
Yeah. So I mean, like, you could tell, like, he's into her, you know, and and Shay is saying all the wrong things. All the wrong things, and she's saying she's saying all the right things. You know, so I mean,
yeah, because his son can live with him and some more with Whitney.
Yeah, are we gonna get into Shay's conversation about that whole?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm waiting on that because it made me mad. It pissed me off.
Absolutely.
It pissed me off.
So next up, Shay went on her date with Peyton. He came over. She dressed, I won't say sexier, but she had a lot more out, because like her dress had cutouts on the side. She obviously didn't have on any underwear. Like, you could see that clearly. Yeah. She was sitting down, but the way that the cuts were in the side of the dress, you could see that she didn't have any on. And Michael made mention of her like pulling out all the stops for her sexy dress. He was like, "Oh, you went out and got something new to go on this date?" And I was like, "Oh, she's petty."
Yeah.
So when he saw Peyton in his confessional, he said, I don't have anything to worry about because that's not Shay's type. He don't have enough muscles.
Right. Like, brother.
I'm like, it is what it is.
Right.
So on their date, they sat down and they had a conversation about marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And what his 5-year plan looked like. And he said he absolutely wants to be married within 5 years. And that was just enough to make her gush all over the place because she wants to be married now.
Yeah.
I really wish that we could find out what it is that she's hoping to gain from marriage outside of saying, I'm married.
Right.
Because it seems like she just feels like that's the next step. And because that's the next step, she needs to be taking it. And I get it. Like, she's late 20s and everybody that she went to school with is probably getting married and having these large, extravagant weddings and all these things. And you feel like you are not in the number.
Right.
And you're just trying to figure out how to get in the number. So,
but that's the wrong reason to get married.
Absolutely. I'm not saying that that's the right reason, but I can see why you feel that way. Yeah. Because, like, when I look at how many people I know that got married the same year as us that we were in school with, it's like it was just like a lot of weddings back to back.
Right.
And it just, people feel like that's the next logical thing to do once you hit a certain age. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So during that, I did notice that Peyton, like when he gave her a hug, like he touched all the way down her body.
Peyton getting a little touchy-feely with her, man.
And I'm just like...
It's like, hold your horses, brother.
I understand that the premise of this is to decide if you want to stay with your mate or if you are going to move into a new relationship. But we have to also still remember that these people are in relationships.
Right, exactly.
And you would not want anyone to do that to your girlfriend. And I think the last thing that
they exchanged numbers.
They did exchange numbers. I didn't write that down, but they did exchange numbers. And she said she knew that she was breaking a rule when she did that.
Right.
That's why I said she was being completely spiteful. Like, she had no reason to get his number whatsoever.
Right.
Outside of the fact that Mike got Whitney's number.
Right.
So fast forward back to them being in the group setting, and Dr. Nicole asked Shay a question about Zion, and I can't remember what the question was, but she said that she thinks that Mike and Zion can go and get an Airbnb when they want to do things. And she can do things when she feels like it with them, and then she can back out when she doesn't want to.
Right. Her thought process, like, it's kind of like the Dr. Nicole, right? I don't remember nobody's name.
Dr. Nicole LaBeach.
Like, it's kind of like she was setting her up to be like, hey, think about what you're saying.
She absolutely was. She was like, hey, I'm going to ask you this question in a way that you have to think about this. Right. Like, beforehand.
Because it's like Shay is trying to separate the fact that Michael has a 12-year-old son and that he's in a relationship with her. Yes, things change when children come about. It's nothing you can do about that. He had a child before y'all got together.
Right, that's what I was about to say, is that it's not even a change. It is literally, that's what it was. The change would be Zion
coming to live with them.
Yeah, moving in with them. But outside of Zion moving in with them, nothing else changes. I mean, that is a huge change. Right. Don't get me wrong. Right. Like, having a child to not having a child is a huge change, because now we have to adjust schedules. We got to worry about pick up, drop off.
We got to close doors when we use the bathroom. What?
Okay. That's your biggest thing that you can throw out there?
I was thinking about.
All right.
But no, like, for her to say the Airbnb thing, Ashley even had to jump in, was like, like she was confused as far as when she's talking about getting an Airbnb. Is it when he goes down there to pick him up or something like that? Do they get an Airbnb, or you know what? She was actually talking about for them to live with, like, here.
And I don't understand how that works because
it doesn't.
But no, I'm like, in her mind,
it doesn't.
I want to know how that worked in her mind, because 7 days are in a week. So you want me to essentially pay rent in 2 places, one where I live with my child and one where I live with you? You can just move out. Right.
You like, let's just cut it off. And that was one of the things they said in their conversations together when they asked about a deal, when they were talking about deal breakers. And she was asked him if she didn't want Zion to move in with them, would that be a deal breaker? He was like, yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, it would be a lot if you just like decided to say, hey, my son is moving in next week, and there had been no prior conversation.
Right. But she knows.
But she has been knowing about this for years.
Like,
it seems.
How can you, as a human being, right? And you see a black dad, and you know the stereotypes about black dads. Why would you put a black dad in a predicament where he had to choose? Either you be a dad or you be my boyfriend, because at this point they're not married. But you're trying to convince him that you want to
that you want to be a family with him,
but you can't accept it. And she said, this situation really made me mad, man.
Let it out.
She said that he wasn't hers.
Right.
Like, I don't know what it was in response to, but she said he wasn't hers. And the way I look at it is, children are all our responsibility.
Because you have to have a village around children.
Right. We, as adults, know right from wrong. Children are learning right from wrong. As the adult in the situation, you have to help that child. Period.
Correct.
Like, this is crazy. Mike needs to find the sign. Mike, please follow the signs.
Like, they're there. They're right in your face.
They're smacking you, man.
And it doesn't make sense to me how we don't see the signs.
Right.
Well, let me not say we. We all see the signs, and he doesn't.
He's Mike, please. Please.
It just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. And Shay's line of thinking does not agree with being married. You know,
hers doesn't align with being in a relationship, period.
Right.
Because even if your goal wasn't to get married, if your goal was to be in a relationship with the person, not living with the person or anything, just you and I, boyfriend, girlfriend, you have a child. I'm not saying I have to be this child's mother, because that is not my role at all, to be this child's parent. But in a sense, I'm going to be doing parental-like things with this child. So, and that's just across the board, because Mike run.
Right. Mike, you got a situation here. It's not going to change if you marry this chick. But anyway, Shay decided not to have a date
with Peyton.
A third date with Peyton. And the cliffhanger of the episode was to see if Mike is going to have another date with Whitney. That's her name, right?
Whitney, yes.
Yes.
Whitney looks very familiar, like as if I've worked with her before. I don't know. I can't say it.
Whitney seems to be saying the right things, and Chase seems to be saying the wrong things. So,
but I think if you took a sane woman, she would be saying the right things compared to Shay's wrong things.
Right.
All right, so we'll go up next to Ashley and Hollywood. So Ashley was the only other person that went on a date. Only 3 people went on a date.
3 people went on a date.
Ashley went out with Charles. Charles came over to the house yet again. This was the best that Hollywood has handled a man showing up to the house. He did tell him put on some booties. That's the only
It's the only booty you
It's the only booty you gonna be getting. Charles seemed nice.
Yeah.
Still didn't necessarily seem like, I don't know what Ashley's type is.
Yeah. I don't either.
It's not like they keep setting her up with like pretty guys.
Because it's like, you with Hollywood, man. Been with this dude for 9 years.
She obviously likes him.
Right.
So we found out that Charles had 2 sons. They were ages 12 and 6. And one of the things that Ashley pointed out about Charles was that he was very attentive.
Yeah.
Unlike Hollywood. And I get it. When you're in a relationship for a long time, you do stop doing the things that you did to get the person.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Hollywood was ever really doing those things or whatever it was.
Right.
But Ashley did note that he was very attentive and she liked that about him.
Mm-hmm.
She said that there was a little bit of tension when she got back home from her date. She was like, normally they like lay down on the couch, she lays on his chest and they talk about the date.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to do any of that.
No, she did.
That's what it was? Yeah. She didn't. She was sitting on her phone and she was like, I was eating.
Yeah.
And he was like, nah.
Right. It's like, you changed. You different. What's going on? He was like, hey, man, I got you some flowers.
I think that Ashley is looking for something else to make her feel like she can just break free from this relationship. Yeah. It's not that she doesn't like Hollywood. It's not that she doesn't like Hollywood. She's just feeling like she's missing something from being with him.
She's not getting what she needs from Hollywood.
And she can't articulate what the need is.
She don't know how to get out of the relationship with Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nothing to pull her out of the relationship, but it's also like, she's been with him. It seems like she's thinking, because I've been with him for so long.
It's like the ball and chain.
Yeah.
Like, he's there. He's consistently there. He's not going to change. He's always going to be what I need him to be and who I need him to be.
Yeah.
In the capacity of who he is. Mm-hmm. I won't say like fully who she needs to be, but she's looking for a big sign to say, this is the reason or the way that you're going to get pulled out of this relationship. And I think that honestly, she should just end the relationship.
Yeah.
Even if she ends up back with Hollywood, because I don't think that she wants to be with someone else.
Yeah.
I think that she needs time apart from Hollywood, but you can't have time apart living together.
Yeah.
Like, that becomes difficult.
And that's another thing too that I peeped in this episode. They all live together. So if they don't get married at the end or engaged, that means that they have to like move out from each other.
And that's probably not going to happen in a lot of those instances.
I don't think any of them are going to break up. Mike, you need to watch the signs. But Ashley Ashley and Hollywood though, man, I was actually proud of Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
The way he's confident in himself, but also he's accepting the experiment at this point. He's not trying
He's not being a hothead like he was on the first date.
Right.
Or the first couple of dates.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that if Ashley could find a way to distance herself from Hollywood, they could get to the space that they need to be in so that she would be ready to get married to him. Yeah. And he too would be ready. But I worry that if they put too much distance between them, he's gonna be like, hey ladies, I'm at you.
Yeah.
And so that's all I got from him.
Yeah, me too.
And then last up was Vince and Tamika. I always forget Vince's name.
Yeah, I do too.
I always have to wait for Tamika to say his name before I'm like, That's his name. I remember her name, though.
They didn't really have a lot in this episode, though, did they?
No, she went home and she talked to her parents. We found out that her parents have been married for 40 years. Mm-hmm. And she says one of the issues that she had was that she wanted Vince to be like her dad. And I get it.
Yeah.
We either have a love story or a traumatic story as it comes to our dads. And you either want someone that's got all these qualities that your dad has, or you want someone that is totally opposite of your dad. Mm. And she would like for Vince to be more like her father. And I get it. Her father is nurturing. Her father and her mother have been married for 40 years. So she's grown up seeing what she has, I won't say she said, but what it appears like is like this happily ever after with her parents. And she's not getting that. She talked to her dad and asked him how would he feel if Vince said that he was going to propose.
Yeah.
And her dad was like, we'd have to have a talk.
For sure.
And her dad basically went back to the beginning of the relationship, which I think is very interesting because until you and I got together, my parents didn't know the interworkings of any of my relationships.
Yeah.
They would just be like, Artieka's boyfriend is at the door. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know when we get into an argument. They don't know what the argument was about. They don't know. They didn't know anything. And I liked it that way.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different being married because like some of the stuff isn't even like I just feel like I'm putting people in my business because it's not that, but it's just like you have your own relationship with my parents. Mm-hmm. So there are things that just literally come up and they just know about because one or the other have said it.
Right.
But I don't know that I would have shared with either of my parents if I was in a relationship with a guy and he wasn't done with the girl before me.
Yeah, I kind of would have kept that to myself.
And we had a big blow up about it because I would just feel weird staying with you, and especially my stepdad.
Yeah.
Like if he knew that, oh my goodness, he'd be talking about you every time he saw you to your face.
Every time. That's him.
Yep. So that didn't sit well with me. You got anything you want to say about them?
The only thing I got to say about them is Tamika must learn to. I like the fact that she started to realize like she has to stop trying to make Vince her dad, like her dad, but accept Vince for how he is, but also learn to like they have to learn to communicate a lot better with each other. That's major. Like in any relationship, you got to know how to communicate with each other. But the biggest thing is she has to trust him. And something that Vince said in this episode was every time she asks a question, he think it's coming from another place.
Oh yeah, he did say that because he was like, if she asks, what did he eat today? He's thinking that she really means like, were you cheating on me?
Right. And I get that.
But it's all in how you answer the question. Because like she said, she would ask him what he eat today and he would say food. That automatically feels like you're trying to withhold information from me.
It does, but then on the flip side, he's thinking that she wants to know if he's cheating on her.
Well, give all the information that says I'm not cheating.
Right. Both of us are on the same page, but they got to get on the same page.
Because if I asked you, like if you went out today and I asked you, hey, did you eat yet? And you said yes, I'd be like, oh, what did you eat? You would literally just be like, oh, I had cheeseburger Bobby's.
Right.
And I wouldn't think anything of it. I wouldn't be like, hey, who did you go with?
Right.
What did you do? What time did you get there? Like, I wouldn't be thinking about those things. It would literally be like, man, you didn't call me, ask me, did I want something?
Right.
That would be the end of the conversation about cheeseburger Bobby's.
Right. But that's the thing. That's the issue with them. It's like she doesn't trust him and he knows she doesn't trust him.
Right.
And so when a question comes up, it's let me hurry up and answer this so she don't ask me another question. And now he looks suspect to every, it's like a circle.
It's a vicious cycle. And he is part of the vicious cycle. Like, I think that a lot of it is his fault.
I think so too.
Because she wouldn't think that you were cheating every time you did something if you hadn't had the issue at the beginning of the relationship.
Right.
That's something she's going to have to get past. But in that same vein, if I ask you, what did you eat today? Answer me.
Right.
Food is not an acceptable answer.
They never had that conversation with each other.
But I can see that. Because for me, and you can attest to this, sometimes you can't get out what you want to say because you don't know how to say it. So you have to have this big blow up and then come back to the okay, this is what I was really trying to say. This is what I was really trying to get out. I don't like it when you do X, Y, and Z. Can we move forward from this?
Yeah.
The big blow up is not always the key, but sometimes you have to have that to have the breakthrough.
Yeah.
So you have to have the big blow up to get to the point of, okay, this is how we're going to get through it.
Right.
He needs to figure out how to get her to the place of the other side without the blow up. Cause she was sitting there crying some more. Like, I feel sorry. Yeah, she started crying at the end of the episode. And they were saying that they have to learn how to communicate better. And I think that part of learning how to communicate better is actually communicating.
Yeah, I think
because that's not communication.
That's one talking to another.
And if you answer my questions
nobody's
with food,
listening to each other.
If you answer my questions with food, I feel like I'm talking to a brick wall.
Right. That would make me mad. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's pretty much the episode.
All right.
Waiting on next week though. I'm trying to hear what Mike does. Is Mike going on a third date with Whitney? I don't know. I hope so.
I don't hope he goes on a third date with Whitney, but because I don't think Whitney's the one for him.
I don't know.
But I think that Whitney is a start of him realizing that Shay got some screws loose.
Man, like everybody looked at Shay. Vince even said, he was like, no. When she said that.
And when toxic people look at you and be like, you're toxic.
Right.
You're toxic.
You're in the wrong. And Shay is like the oh Lord Jesus. I'm done.
All right, guys, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on the notification bell, like this video, comment down below your thoughts on everything. I'm interested to hear how you guys feel about Shay. I know it's going to be somebody in the comments that's like, I understand Shay.
Right.
I want to talk to you.
Somebody is definitely going to be like, I see what Shay's saying. No, I don't.
I want to talk to that person. Please follow us on social media as well. August Love Story on Instagram and on Facebook. Artieka on Instagram. I am Tommy T III. All the information is down below in the description box.
Yep.
Thanks for watching.
Man, I just noticed that I didn't change the color of the thing.
Oops. Bye, guys.
Peace.